Hello and welcome to the Hard Card podcast, recorded and filmed at Authentic Collectables HQ in Perth, Western Australia. For our third episode, we are joined by a driver who marches to the beat of his own drum. There is no doubt about that. But at the same time, is one of the genuinely nicest people on the Supercars grid. He's still also exceptionally fast, even if he's getting a bit long in the tooth. Of course, I'm talking about David Reynolds. David, you know I'm only joking about you being old, particularly as we are exactly the same age, I'm pretty sure. So I won't teach you too much about that. But how are you going today?
Yeah, mate, I'm going really good. I'm joined by my boss and my teammate.
It looks a lot like you're sitting in the boss's chair right now, actually.
I am. I'm in his office. Have a look. In his office, there's his cups. There's the boss. The world's greatest boss. That's his phone he talks to.
There's some very strong The Office vibes there with the world's greatest boss mug.
Yeah,
Let's start with your rapid start to the Supercar season in Bathurst last week. You seemed pretty happy after testing, and I guess we kind of know why. Now, it wasn't a perfect weekend for the Bathurst 500, but plenty of pace, decent results. So you happy?
Yeah, mate, I'm very happy. Yeah, like the results is one thing. Like I think the team thought we might have been sort of between sort of 10 and 20-ish. And when we rolled out sort of like between 5 and 10 for the weekend, I think that's above expectation. You know, we ended up 6 and 8 with a few dramas, obviously over the qualifying sessions, everyone could see. So, mate, I'm over the moon. I love working here. Everyone's really positive, really happy, and it's just a really cool place to be. Good vibes.
There's a lot of focus on young talent in Supercars right now, and a changing of the guard is definitely not a bad thing for the category, but that lap on Sunday for you to get into the shootout in qualifying after having those issues getting out in that session, like that was clearly an accumulation of all the experience that you have from your career so far. Is it nice to sort of remind people that experience counts for a heck of a lot in this business as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think, experience is like fundamental to this category. It's such a finicky category. The cars are so, they're not hard to drive, but they're just really hard to set up. And based on what I've driven, based over my last 10 years of career or whatever, I know where to brake. I know how to get the most out of a car. I know what to do over the lap to sort of put it together. So all I need to do is be confident in myself and go and do it. That lap I did was a lot of pressure because I literally only did one lap for the whole session because we had engine dramas before that. But I knew the track was fast. Like I knew the times that everyone else was doing, so I know okay, I could go a bit faster here and there than I did in the day before, and I put together a lap and that put me 5th for the shootout, which is awesome. And if I had a couple of more runs, I might be able to go faster. I might not have been. I'm generally one to maximise the car I get given straight out of the gate. So. If anything, if I had the full 20-minute session, I could have done a worse job. I don't know. Something might have happened. I might have stressed out too much, or there's a huge mental side to it. But mate, I was really happy with that. It was a good comeback because when I first went out, the car it sounded terrible, like a tractor was running, and I know from my own experience, I'm like, it's definitely a plug lead or a coil pack, and I said that in the radio, and they tried to find the lead and they couldn't find it. They sent me out again with the same problem. They came back in and actually found the plug lead that had sort of melted and frayed a bit, which was causing all the distress. And they changed it, went back out there, and it was perfect. So, I suppose I have the experience to know I've had that before in my life, and that's a plug lead sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously there's a lot of focus these days on how similar the cars are. We've never had more control parts. The fact you've been able to jump, from a Ford Mustang to a Chevy Camaro and basically be able to maximise the package like that so quickly, are they really similar? Do they feel similar when you're jumping from one car to the other?
Yeah, they do feel similar. Obviously, the engine's slightly different. The aero package is slightly different this year for both cars, so I can't really comment on what they have now. But over the last year with Grove Racing, I learned a lot about the car setup and the analysis of it. So I've kind of used that my last year into this year, and it seems to be working straight out the gate. Obviously we're not at the maximum yet. The Red Bull cars were very, very fast, and they pretty much hosed everyone all weekend. So we're still, 3 or 4 tenths off of those guys in qualifying around there, which sort of carries over to the race. So there's still a lot of, low hanging fruit. We can go and make our cars better from here and there
Yeah.
and understand our aero better and whatnot. So, I don't. The driving part's the easy part. It's the setting up the car and getting the most out of it in that session. That's the hardest part.
You're obviously on the shop floor today. We sort of touched a little bit on the vibe of the team, but having a nice, strong start to the season, knowing there's some pace in the cars, has that even improved where the team is sort of at coming out of that first round?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Mark was really good in the race, and I was good in qualifying. So, if we can merge the two cars together, we can have a fast qualifying car and then a faster race car. It's a really, really hard thing as a driver and engineer to sort of determine what to do between qualifying and the race. Like, how much do you detune the car? What's the track going to do? When are we going to pit? What's everyone else thinking? Like, there's so many other questions that you have to sort of talk through to get the most out of the car and the race. So, we're still learning a lot about this package. I'm still learning a lot about the difference between the Ford and the Mustang. Sorry, the Ford and the Camaro. So yeah, it's been a really good first round. Like, everyone's really happy, really positive. I love working with Krusty. It's been, I don't know, 15 years since I've worked with him. So yeah, he's a really cool, happy cat to be around, and that just gives me confidence and makes me want to go faster.
You've come into the team. You did have the upper hand on outright pace on Frosty over the weekend. How did that kind of go down? I mean, the old adage in motorsport is the first guy you got to beat is your teammate, but when you're talking about Mark Winterbottom, you're talking about a guy who's been there and done that and
Very
doesn't
good.
necessarily have heaps to prove. Does that take the sting out of the teammate battle a little bit, the fact that you guys are both so experienced and have already got so many runs on the board?
Yeah, it does. I reckon. We're both older. We don't have egos to satisfy. We're just trying to do the best job for our team and our sponsors. I don't like that he was back there. I actually feel quite bad to be up the front, him down the back, because I want both cars up the front, scoring points for the team and racing each other hard and pushing each other further up the grid. Everyone always talks about having a teammates close to you. Does that push you? It doesn't really push me at all. It it doesn't really do anything to me. It is what it is. If they're first, I'll try and be second. If I'm first, I hope they're second. Like, I don't really care. It's not. I don't have that internal battle within the team that you know. It, people say it does push the team forward. I don't believe that at all. I go out there and maximise everything I get, regardless of if it's a single car team, 4-car team, whatever. I don't care. But hopefully we can get his car up the field. Like I said, it's only round one. We've still got many different types of tracks to go to. The Grand Prix is the next one, which I know he does very well at.
Yeah.
And I've been good there at the past. But yeah, Mark is pretty much the reason why I'm at this team. He sort of told me how good it is and what Charlie's like to work for and everything they're trying to do here. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. That sounds great. And I joined based on his recommendation. So I'm thankful that he sold me such a good story.
Let's talk a bit about your decision to join the team, because when you sort of made that call, or when it came out in July or August or whenever it was last year, the Camaro was definitely the car to have. Grove Racing was actually in a bit of a slump at the time. You were offered, the multi-year, 3-year contract to give you a bit of security and stability at this stage of your career. Like, it seemed like an absolute no-brainer of a move. Fast forward a sort of couple of months from there and you're winning races in a Grove Racing Mustang. The parity tide had kind of shifted a little bit, that the aero balance was actually in the Mustang's favour, as we found out in the wind tunnel testing. The wheels did fall off Team 18 a little bit after Bathurst. They had to go, make some pretty hard decisions and go through a bit of staff turnover.
Yeah.
Were there quiet times where you thought,
have I
actually made the right call here?
Mate, every decision I make, I always question whether that's the right decision. Even if I end up doing really well, I'm like, could I have done better in this one? You never really know. Like, with any decision in life, there's always like 2 avenues you could go down, and you can look at it like the wrong decision or right decision, or either way, it doesn't really matter. It's whatever team you join, whatever decision you make in life, like I always say, I don't have a plan B. You go from plan A to plan A to plan A to plan A to plan A. You don't have plan Bs and Cs. Bugger all that shit. That's a waste of time. So yeah, I joined this team with the full intention to, drag it up the grid and make it a front-running team. Leaving Groves, I know like the Groves are very, very good people, very good team, very organised. Like they're a very, very unbelievable team to work with everyone there last year, and I learned a lot about how they have structure and how they run and plan things, and they're very meticulous and detailed down to the last half a percent or whatever it is. So, hopefully I can take that mentality into Team 18 and do really well with that. So, yeah, it is a decision you make. The 3-year deal is much better for me in my life. I'm 38 years old. I'm not getting any younger. But even though I feel like I'm getting younger, like I feel better and sharper than I did when I was in my 20s. So, age in motor racing doesn't really matter. It matters if you want to get up and win and be the fastest on the day and put all the eggs in one basket. So for me, that's still what I want to do and what I want to be. So we'll see what happens. I'll let you know in a few years whether it worked out or not.
I'll keep your philosophy.
Anyway.
I'll keep your philosophy in mind when I'm jumping in the Formula Ford to race a bunch of 18-year-olds in a few weeks' time.
You're there to win.
Adrien Burgess has been a pretty polarising figure in the paddock, in the last few years. Even the way he joined Team 18, didn't go down well with everyone without any significant gardening leave and stuff. But I have to say that he seemed really relaxed and Teamland Adrien seems like a different person to head of motorsport Adrien when he's when he's getting about the paddock. What's it been like working with him and what influence has he had on the team?
When he joined, he come from obviously Supercars, which, everyone thought that he was going to come with everyone's setups and everything like that and all the data and shit like that. But man, he doesn't know anything. I can tell you, he doesn't know anything else other than what he was,
There's my headline. There's my headline. Burgess doesn't know anything. That's great.
You probably appreciate that. But obviously he's been. I think the Teamland change has been really good for him. He's sort of got that competitive brain back in himself, and he's got the mindset and he's a competitive person. So, I love hanging out with him. He's a very, very, very funny character. Very cool to hang out with.
He is.
And obviously he's been in a lot of good teams like DJR, HRT, Triple Eight, and he knows how they run. So, he's trying to bring that experience into our team, which is it's fundamental in our sport now. Everyone's got the same car. It's down to your systems and your processes and your detail of how you set your car up and how you go about your weekends. So, his experience is paramount here.
I want to ask you about Maddie Payne because obviously you drove alongside him at Groves last year. He's a different sort of dude, but he proved in Adelaide last year that with all the right tools, he's a race winner. You've seen the data, you've worked with him closely. Like, is he the real deal, this guy?
Yeah, absolutely. Maddie's the real deal. He's a very fun guy to hang out with. I had a fantastic year with him, sharing the garage with him. But yeah, as for his experience, he's got the goods, he's got the talent. So, he's moved down to Melbourne to be close to the team. He was up in La La Land in Gold Coast last year. Yep. So, now he's moved down to try and, I suppose, further his career, which is great. Last year we sort of raced in the same team. We weren't racing a lot together on the track. And both times over the weekend, I had to pass and defend from him. So it was so funny. I'm like, hurry up, Matt, piss off, get away from me. And it's just funny how you change teams and then you're fighting your old teammate. It's pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely the real deal. He's got a big future ahead of him. And I hope he stays motivated.
Now, hats have been a bit of a topic in Supercars since the Bathurst 5. I see you wearing a tradie beer hat. Let me just say that I was your mate Dowie.
I don't have to wear it though. It should be a choice. I don't have to wear it.
All right, we'll get on it. Your mate Dowie gave me a 6-pack of tradie beers in Bathurst, and I left them in the media centre fridge. And when I got back to leave the track, 3 of them were gone. Now I don't know who took them. Oh, I don't know. There's been a bit of tension in the media recently. Write about what you like about me, but do not take my beers. That is absolutely where I draw the line.
I know you love beer, Andrew. I know you love beer.
Anyway, what's your take? I mean, you're sponsored. You have a Vodafone relationship. What's your take on this whole hat thing and whether you should or shouldn't be told? It was never an issue in the Armour All days. Why are we suddenly seeing it as an issue now?
Yeah, it's an issue now because, a lot of the teams and drivers have personal deals with, other telcos. So, it's just a bit rude if you were, made to wear the hat. I don't think that should be part of it. Like, you can stand there with the. Well, I suppose, do you have to accept the check? I don't know. It's a really sticky sort of scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never come across this before. So it's a new thing for myself. And if I've been if I was to get pole, I would probably not wear the hat. I'd probably accept the money though. I don't know. Like, if I was to get pole, can I just say I'm second? Like, just identify as becoming second, and then we can give the pole check to someone
Maybe.
else, and they can deal with all this mess. Because I don't know. You just want to go win races and not deal with all this stressful politics. So, yeah, arguably, I don't know, mate. It's really confusing. I don't think, it's hard enough to get sponsorship, and then when you have the category have their own sponsors, it sort of makes all the lines a bit blurry and a bit slippery. So, I don't really know. What's your take on it? You tell me. You're the bloke sitting at home looking at it.
My take is that things are going pretty well for a bloke if $5,000 isn't enough for him to put a hat on his head. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, but then he might have a contract saying he can't wear any other hats or any other branded to do with any other telco. So he might lose, his sponsorship deal based on that. So,
I think it's very much on Supercars to come up with a solution to this, because they have agreed to the advertising on sponsorship on the basis of certain of there being certain things in place. And that's causing issues with the teams. So I actually think it's a Supercars and teams issue that they need to get on top of. But Triple Eight and yourself are certainly not alone in having concerns over that branding, because obviously, we know that Peter Adderton's such an outspoken bloke as well, and he's not everyone's cup of tea, and he has some great friends in the paddock, and he has some people that aren't all that fond of him. So that's kind of comes with it, I suppose.
Peter, I reckon he's fantastic, and he says he speaks his mind, and I think he's great. I don't know. It's kind of it's just a funny scenario, isn't it? Like, I don't know. Can I finish second if I get pole?
You can do whatever you like. You just got to roll out of it the last corner, mate. It's easy.
But you don't know. You try and go out there and be as fast as you can, and then you got to deal with all this other crap that it shouldn't be like that. It's awesome that they actually award a bit of money and make it into a thing and everything. It's like when we did Below the Bonnet, the co-drivers cup, we gave away more money than the person who won Bathurst. We gave away more money than they they got. So, the Ryco co-driver cup was a gleaming success, wasn't it?
Huge success. They were great days, those ones. Let's talk a bit about speaking your mind and that sort of stuff, because one thing that's come up a lot recently in Supercars is sort of a lack of household names. It's not a lack of talent. The depth of talent in Supercars is probably as good as it's ever been. But we've seen Scotty and Shane go overseas, and how many household names are really left in the sport. You are one of them. You've throughout your whole career been someone who's been very open and themselves and spoken their mind. But it hasn't always been easy, right? Like, it's not easy to be that way.
Yeah, it's not really. It is easy to be that way because you're just being yourself and you don't care. But
but you run into dramas. Like, you run into dramas if you get it a bit wrong, as you well know.
Oh, mate, I'm always in some sort of drama, whether it's at home or on the racetrack or whatnot. So, as long as you're yourself and you have your own thoughts and your own originality, I suppose it's not, it's just being you, and people can like it or hate it or whatever. Like, household names like Frosty beside me, he was part of a Disney movie. Like, that's awesome. Like, he's still a household name. But as far as all the drama and stuff, it's all part of the parcel. Like, the sport wants you to be sort of loud, not outspoken, but have a personality, say what you think. But then sometimes you say what you think, and then you get slapped on the wrist for it. So, you can't give us the green light and then give us the red light straight after you give us the green light, because then it causes too much confusion, and then no one wants to talk about how they think or what they want to say. So everyone just gets on camera and thanks the sponsors, and it's all pretty mundane shit. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But luckily, I'm not running the sport because it'd be wild, wild west out there.
You're working with, the most experienced driver in the category now, but you have, previously you worked with Anton, obviously with Matt as well. Has there been, and, Andre as well, has there been times where you have been able to impart a bit of, wisdom on how to deal with the outside of the car stuff in this sport and how to ride the waves of, I said something that's made me a little bit unpopular for a second, but, that'll come back to you and all that sort of stuff?
I suppose, media it's so fast these days that you might say something that pisses someone off, but then the next day there's a news story it's gone another direction. So everything blows over. Everything takes time, but it always blows over, and everyone gets on with their life. And people have got short memories in motor racing, and they forget. So if you say anything that's wrong, just forget about it, I reckon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything moves on so quick. And then Matt Payne last year, he was having a bit of a struggle. He had what I call over-analysis paralysis, or over-analysis paralysis, where he was analysing so much. Everyone was telling him how to drive, do this, do that, think about this, think about that. I'm like, dude, just. I could see it was all getting to him. And one test day, I said, dude, just fuck all that stuff. Can I swear? Sorry.
Yeah, swear away.
I said, just piss all that stuff off. Just focus on yourself. You know how to drive a car. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. Just forget everything. Just listen to yourself. And ever since that day, he started just getting better and better and stop, over analyzing everything. Because I suffered that when I was a junior. You just have so much input from everyone else trying to help you, trying to do the right thing, but at the end of the day, it's actually hindering you because you just have so many conflicting thoughts that you can't sort through what's right, what's wrong, and everything. So, hopefully he learnt that from me.
When you look at your life, you're kind of in a somewhat unique situation because your partner Tahan, she has her own public profile through her media work and all that sort of stuff. You're a celebrity couple to some sort of extent. Does it help that you can kind of actually share that journey with someone who does understand what life in the public eye is kind of like? I mean, the journey just of being a professional athlete, of being a public figure, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, yes and no. My life with her is my life with her. It's, she was on a large TV show over 10 years ago, and she's still semi-recognised from that. Even to this day, not young kids, they're not young anymore, but kids that were 12, 13, highly impressionable that watched that Big Brother series, now they're 22, 23, 24. They still come up to her and go, I watched you when I was a kid and I loved it, and da-da-da-da. So it's actually quite cool to watch all that happen. But, I don't know. It's quite of a weird thing to sort of talk about, isn't it? Because now we've got a family together, and I like to try and keep that life separate. They do come to the track and hang out, and for me it's just normal life, and for her it's probably just normal life too. But for other people, it's seen as some celebrity thing. But for us, we're just normal people, just trying to raise a couple of kids and go about life. So, I'm a very simple person. I'm from Albury Wodonga, and keeping things simple is it's paramount in this day and age, I think. So I don't try and think too grand a scheme or too far ahead. I just focus on the now and what can I do better, and how can I help my family grow up, and how can I help her, even though she's basically she's not a full-time mum now, but she's she doesn't work anymore, so she's a full-time mum. But, I'm trying to help her out as much as I can, because I know that is the hardest job out of any of us. That is a very, very difficult job, raising two kids and keeping your sanity.
Absolutely. I'm sure you've been watching, like everyone in the sport, this Brody Kostecki situation closely. You've ridden the highs and lows with that team. You won the Bathurst 1000 with them and then left, while you were still in contract. Have you been in a position to reach out to anyone on either side of the ledger, whether it's Betty or whether it's Brody or anyone like that, or have you just sort of stayed as out of it as possible?
I'm just staying out of it, dude. I know I've been in that situation. I know how hard it is. And yeah, there's not much more I can say.
No, absolutely fair enough. Let's finish up with the
Why would you ask
Authentic
me that?
Collectables. Well, because why not? I'm not doing my job if I don't ask you that
Yeah,
question.
true. I know.
You've
I
answered
know.
it very well, David. Do not worry.
Thank you.
Let's finish with the Authentic Collectables Top 10 Shootout. It's 10 rapid fire questions. A lot
I
of them
like
to do
these.
with collectibles, because as you can see, I'm surrounded by them here at Authentic. So let's start with David. Who was your sporting idol when you were growing up?
Who was my sporting idol? I had a couple. It was obviously
Mm-hmm.
Ayrton Senna,
Yep.
Thomas Mazzara,
Oh wow.
Mark Gaffe,
Yep.
and Carlos Sainz.
All right. Love
All
Carlos.
motor people.
You had some. You've got a few good ones there. Did you ever collect any motor racing related memorabilia, or trading cards or models or anything like that?
And I reckon I stole the 100-meter sign from the Melbourne Grand Prix in like 99, maybe 2000 or something. That's really all I took.
Yeah. You sure you
Nothing.
weren't one of the guys getting around Bathurst on the 12-hour weekend, drawing bits and pieces around? Seems like something you would do.
Drawing phalluses anywhere.
Do you collect things from your own motorsport career?
Do I collect things? Yeah, I've got helmets and suits.
What's your favourite piece of David Reynolds related memorabilia?
What's my favourite piece? To be honest, none of them. I actually don't like any of them.
Not even anything from a certain victory at Mount Panorama or anything like that?
I don't know. I'm not really. I collect them, but I'm not really into it. So it's quite funny. I've got all my helmets, and most of them I haven't. Penrite have half of my collection scattered around their office somewhere. So
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't. I've sold two in my whole life, and I've kind of regretted selling them. So don't know why, but you kind of attach yourself to that helmet and that year and what it meant to you and all the memories that surround itself with that year. So
Yeah.
I kind of regret selling them.
Have you collected anything, or do you have anything from outside of motor racing?
Have I collected anything outside of motor racing?
What about your alien statue? Have you still got that?
Nah, I sold it.
Yeah.
Sold it for a profit.
No, there you go. There you go.
I think I bought it for like, I don't know, $1,800, and I sold it for $2,500. So stoked, mate.
Laughing.
Made heaps of money. Flush.
All right. But that's a good enough answer for that one. What's the ultimate race car you'd like to drive? Past, present, whatever. What would you love to have a steer of?
Oh, the ultimate race car. Ultimate.
Yeah.
Formula One car for sure.
Okay.
Any era from Formula One, I'd love to have a go at. They are just fast, cool, and just Mate, probably not this era, the turbo hybrid era. I'd probably prefer like the V10 era.
Yeah, something that made a bit of noise.
That is distinctly Formula One for me.
You've got to replace Davo in that two-seater at some point at Albert Park. That'd be the.
I'd crash it.
Name a team driver or personality from motorsport that you'd love to work with. Again, can be past or present.
A personality that I'd love to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there'd be a couple. Probably Scafey.
Yep.
Because he's just super intense.
Yeah. You've sort of worked with him, I suppose, in a way, just
bit,
with his role in the series, even.
Yeah, I suppose a little bit. Who else would I like to work with? Oh man, I don't really know. Will Brown. When I shared the car with Will Brown at Bathurst that year, that was fun.
Yeah.
And he's just a real relaxed character, really happy and easy to get along with.
Yeah.
Who else? Far out.
That's good. That's a couple.
Good
That'll
enough?
do us.
All right,
yeah,
cool.
That's good enough. Do you ever get sick of eating nothing but steak?
No, I never get sick of eating steak, ever.
Do you ever treat yourself to junk food? And if you do, what's your go-to?
Oh yeah, I like junk food, but it just makes you feel terrible and you put on so much weight. But what do I like, man? I love like donuts, croissants, baked goods, all the stuff
right.
that's terrible for you that I don't know. But then you eat it and it has like a really good taste, but then you feel like going to sleep like an hour later. It's like, oh, that probably wasn't good for me.
Yeah. Yep, that I doesn't do that to me, but I'm sure it does to you. What's the best road car? I think I know the answer to this one, but what's the best road car you've ever owned?
The best road car I've ever owned.
Yeah.
The best, like I've got a RX-7 Series 1.
Yeah.
Had two
I
of
thought
them.
that's what you go. Is that running at the moment? I think you were giving it a bit of a rest though, weren't you?
Yeah, I've thought it hasn't been driven since 2006, and it's been
Yep.
sitting in mum and dad's shed, and I've dragged it up here to my mate's rotary shop, LCR. Give them a shout out. They've been really good to me, and yeah, we're sort of in the process of getting it going and getting it registered and everything. And obviously back then, almost 20 years ago, the laws are a bit different, and now they've sort of changed. So it's a bit harder to get registered in its previous form. So now I've had to modify a few things. But otherwise, I had a WRX, like a 97 WRX, and honestly did the best handbrake turns in the world. It was like
I remember the car well. I remember it well from
ridiculously cool.
the good old days.
It was dangerous, but so much fun. What else? Yeah, that's probably it. They're like, those older sort of cars that have a lot of character.
Yeah, cars that feel like cars when you drive them, not
they do. Yeah,
not with all the modern stuff. I totally agree. Anyway, we'll let you carry on with your day, Dave. Thanks for joining us.
Was that 10 questions already?
That was 10. Yep, that was 10. It was a lot more than 10 if you go through the whole pod. But thanks for joining us. Best of luck for the rest of the season, mate. Looking forward to seeing how you go.
All right, thanks very much.
And we thank Dave again for joining us on the latest episode of the Hard Card at Authentic Collectables. Speaking of Authentic, they have plenty of Dave Reynolds models for sale. They also have a heap of Team 18 models for sale. So make sure you check out all the stock that's available on their website at the moment. Also, remember to like this video and subscribe to the Authentic Collectables YouTube channel. We'll be back soon with more Hard Card.